Hello, welcome to this week's edition, special playoff edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jimmy Qualls, and special bracketologist Tate Mathews is with us. Tate, great week, man. This is one of my favorite weeks. Number one, it's Halloween.
Halloween weekend, man. The ghosts and goblins are out. I'm excited. I'll be excited to see who you and Assistant AD Major Qualls will be this Wednesday night or tonight. But very excited about that. And then round one of the playoffs. Most bittersweet weekend of the year for us because it's so bitter because the regular season is over. It's too fast. It's too fast. That's just all there is to it. Probably part of it is because there were 3 games in August this year. But the sweet part is we're talking playoffs, and that's very, very exciting.
Well, maybe in a future episode, my assistant AD and I will release the top 13 haunted houses for you so you can get that for future reference.
Well, I thought I went to one of them, and y'all made me feel like I had gone to a bouncy house. So.
Speaking of haunted houses, there's going to be a lot of games that people think they're at a haunted house because it's going to be an absolute just mauling.
Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes, of several things, and we'll look at those matchups here coming up. But let's talk about Week 11. You're exactly right. This season goes way too long. Favorite week of the year outside of Halloween. You know why?
Starts basketball as well.
Week of November 1st. And a lot of these teams in the playoffs will be smelling that popcorn, hearing the shoe squeak, and that varnish smell coming at them, and they think it's a lot warmer inside. So let's go and get out there and why prolong the inevitable. But Week 11 came down to some great scenarios. We knew Brentwood had to win the region. Centennial had to win to get in the playoffs. Franklin had to beat Dixon and hope and pull for the first time ever, pull for the Bruins to beat Centennial so they could get in. And all those things came to fruition. Centennial lost a very heartbreaking game against Brentwood, 28-21. What do we know about that game?
Well, it came down to the end of literally the end of the game. So here we are, Centennial's literally playing for their playoff lives. It's win, and they're in, and lose, and they go home. And I don't think a lot of people gave Centennial a lot of hope, considering they're playing with a freshman quarterback, which they had to do the past few weeks. But obviously that team changed a lot when they had to go with the younger quarterback, and because he's a freshman. I mean, playing in 6-6A. But as always, Centennial was in it, had a chance to win the game. Brentwood had to score with 12 seconds left in the game to go ahead in the championship, to go ahead in that game to win the region championship, paired with what you're going to talk to in a second. But as usual, we're biased, but I feel 100% comfortable in this. I understand it, but it's a crying shame that Centennial is not in the playoffs because there's a lot of teams in 6A, and I mean a lot of teams that they could beat. It's just we happen to have 5 of the best 6A teams in the state in Region 6-6A. Only 4 of them get to go. Here we are. We don't know where Independence, Brentwood, and Ravenwood are going to end up, but they did beat Independence, and they almost beat Brentwood, and neither one of those guys could end up playing in Cookeville, and Centennial sitting home. So, long story short, it was a great game by Centennial. I did not know this. I saw this. This is something that I think Coach Crawford will address and probably has been addressing. So it's the 9th time this year they've trailed at halftime. That's unbelievable. Now, the good thing is they've won, 7 of those, so they've come back, fought back, and won those. But the bad is they've trailed. I know they don't want to continue that trend in the playoffs. And Cade Granzow, the sophomore quarterback, in my opinion, he's no longer a sophomore. He's 10 games in. But 4 total touchdowns. He had 108 rushing. He had 108 passing, and 125 rushing, 4 total touchdowns. Obviously, they needed all 4 of those.
Well, you spoke of something I want to look at real quick. You look at the 4 teams from the sister region beside us, right? That Rutherford County League. Obviously, Oakland's going in number 1, Blackman number 2. Don't want to take anything away from their teams. But then you've got Riverdale, Cookeville going in as the 3-4. On that seat, on that bracket. Now, take that into contrast of our overall region. Now, people can say, Oakland's the best team in Middle Tennessee. People can argue that all day. They're undefeated. But when you get into absolute region play, you look at top to bottom.
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
No, and like I said, Centennial's record is with the 2-year cycles, which we're in again right now. Centennial's schedule will look a little different than it did these past 2 years, but when you have success, you've already got these tough 6-6A games, and then when you're trying to get your non-region games, it's hard to get games. And so Centennial's record does not reflect it, but they could beat half the teams in this 6A bracket right now.
Well, this game started in great fashion, and I wish the best of these young men. Jariel Wilson, what a great player he is. Started off the game with a 98-yard to-the-house kickoff return. I mean, this guy's had an unbelievable career. I look forward to watching him for the Govs. They're getting a good one.
Yeah.
Diamond in the rough.
If they get him. I'm not so sure somebody doesn't late come in and steal him from Captain Positivity. He's a player. No, think about it, though. Think about these teams that he's doing that against. I mean, you know, it's not like he's in AA ball outrunning people. I mean, he's doing this against 6A and takes it to the house. I mean, it's every time he touches the ball, he's a threat. He is. All he does is make plays, and he plays hard. He's a great kid. You're right, man. What a way to start the game off. And if Brentwood had any questions of whether or not Centennial was ready to just pack it in and get the season over, that answered it real quick.
Well, you mentioned they scored with 12 seconds ago. Did you realize how they set that score up?
No.
Granzow threw a pass. Avery Williams across the middle, a one-handed tip to himself catch that got him down to what Coach Crawford thought was the goal line, 1 yard line. Well, it ended up being about the 5 yard line. Quarterback keeper Granzow for the touchdown.
Wow. Well, he's a stud, man. He's a dual. Like I said, he's not a Thursday. He's not a freshman anymore. I mean, a sophomore anymore. He's a junior experience-wise, and a guy that can beat you with his feet and his arm. And you know, we got a lot of those guys. The guy right across I-65, he can beat you with his feet and his arm. And you were talking about Jariel taking that kickoff back. We got so many guys that Jariel can take it back. Isaiah Collier, I've seen him take it back. You know, the Ravenwood guys with Holmes and Mason, they got guys that take it back. It's, you know, it's going to be fun, man. This 6A is going to be really, really fun in the playoffs. Franklin obviously has the toughest draw of any of them, but I don't think that's a. I think there's a very good chance we could sweep.
Oh boy, I'm just telling you, it's going to be a close one. We'll get to that one in just a moment. With that win, Brentwood, Coach Ron Crawford, and the Bruins take the Region 6A championship out of the grasp of the Raptors. You know they love that. They take the #1 seed. Ravenwood gets the #2 seed. But Franklin, 24, Dixon County 7. They had to have that win. I don't think there was any doubt in our mind when they came into that game that they were not going to win this game. The question was, could Centennial pull off a miracle and get themselves in the back door? They couldn't. Dixon took care of their part. The only part that they, you know, you've got to take care of your business. If you don't take care of your business, nothing else matters. They took care of their business. Part one of the second part they needed to get in the playoffs. 24-7. What do we know about this game?
What you said, they had to come in. The only thing they could control is what happened in the Franklin-Dixon County game. They did that. Obviously, if you don't go down there and slop around, you're probably going to win that game. And, you know, and with the way Franklin plays, what does that mean? You know, do a good job of running the ball, check, Gacko over 100 yards again.
Which gets him over the 1,000-yard mark for the season.
Past the 1,000-yard right for the season, that's right, great. And so, shout out to the offensive line. None of that's possible without those 5 guys up front. Obviously, chance for Brighton and the likes on the outside blocking. Obviously, you know, when you play wide receiver in that offense, a big part of it is blocking downfield, and they've done that. And then Chancellor had 5 receptions for 101 yards and a touchdown. Nichols played well.
Let's just stop right there for just a moment. How? You know, you think about that. 5 catches for 100 yards. Now, I say how. It's easy for me to sit over here and say, why don't you take that away? Obviously, he's better than that. You can't just take it away. But you know that he had to get concentration. Now, did that get set up because of Gacka's running abilities?
Yeah, because they got to put 7, 8 in the box to stop the run. And, you know, no offense to Dixon County. I mean, we saw it against Spring Hill. In that play of the week last week when we were watching, we were laughing off air. The dang safeties were 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. The corners were rolled up. I mean,
that's giving you one-on-one. That's a green.
Yeah, that poor kid's out there by himself. Now, actually, it was a great kid. I'm talking about that play of the week last week, the touchdown pass to Bright. But that kid actually had great coverage. He just stood no chance. He's out there on an island on his own. He's got no help over the top. And Nichols made a great pass. So why? Yeah, right there, exactly what you're talking about. Gacka is a workhorse, and he's a guy who can carry it 20, 25 times a game, not fumble. And that offensive line is averaging, getting the blocks to where he's averaging 5.9 yards a carry. Well, you got 4 carries or you got 4 downs to get 10 yards. You got to stop them. The only way to do that, if you can't stop them, is to put more in the box. Now you got Bright out there by himself, and that's not good for anybody. Air Webb. Shotgun, 5 wide. But, hey, the biggest part, man, he doesn't get enough credit, my man. Ian Burr, field goal kicker, 36-yard field goal. In the rain, bad conditions. So shout out to the snapper and the holder too. And he was 3 for 3 on extra points. How are we going to beat Cane Ridge? Running game, right? Not turning over and winning the kicking game. Ian Burr is going to be a big part of that.
Long sustained drives, first team.
We really like to spread it out and throw shotgun 5 wide.
It is a Halloween show, so you may see guest appearances all throughout the show. Now, Dr. Defense is going to be there. They've already worked up a plan. They were working on it for a week now, over a week.
Yep.
And you're right. Long, sustained drives, control the clock. Offense is your best defense against Cane Ridge. But those sustained drives have to result in some type of points. If they can score 3 touchdowns, if they score 3 touchdowns, the Rebels win.
I think you're right. And then Chapman Beard had another big night last Friday night. He had 6 solo tackles and an interception. Just, Coach Webb sends us those stats every weekend and Friday night, and Chapman's going to be at the top or the 1 or 2 in tackles every night. He's just a young man that's always around the ball, and a lot of them are. But he really played well.
You're going to have to get ready to tackle on those edges, because those guys are going to get there in a hurry on those try to turn the corners on the edges. And if they can contain it, and I really do think they do. Cane Ridge is a very good team. Do not want to take away what Coach Woods has done up there, because he has done a great job.
Oh, yeah.
But defensive line for Franklin has to be probably better, more quality kids, I would think, in those positions than what they faced. So how does Franklin scheme and get their way to get pressure to try to alleviate those long, drawn-out plays where athletes make those choices and break you down defensively?
Yeah, well, they're going to have to gang tackle them. They're going to have to, they're going to have to get them at the point of attack. They're going to have to win the line of scrimmage, basically. You let Starling and Norman get to the second level, it's trouble for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. So they're going to have to win the line of scrimmage, try to get to them at point of attack, and then swarm them and let those linebackers come in and get 3 or 4 guys on the ball carrier. That's what they're going to have to do. They let him get through that line and get 5-6 yards deep. Now it's a one-on-one tackle. Odds are not in anybody's favor, not just Franklin. Those guys they're the real deal.
In the other 6A game last Friday night, a game I think that pretty much shocked everyone, including us, the pundits. At one point in time, this game was 37-0.
Yes.
Running clock, Popcorn City, you got your boat captain hat on. Ravenwood was leading Independence. Nobody saw this coming. Now, let's back up for just a moment. Not making excuses. Coach Blake would tell you, first and foremost, he's not going to make an excuse. But the conditions were absolutely very poor for a team that throws 40 times a game.
Right.
You got rain, it's cold, a lot of those things are going on. The snaps were unbelievable, low, high, all over the map. I felt like Cash could not get in a flow. Cisco came in as well. Neither one of them could get really good in a flow. Threw a couple balls. I saw something I haven't seen in 4 years. TJ Sheffield dropped 2 big-time balls that were thrown to him, and actually good passes at that point in time. Double coverage, though, all night long. Good balls thrown to him, and just kind of dropped a couple, something that you very rarely see him do. You saw a little bit of frustration. They're going to have to get these things worked out. You know why? Because you do that come this week against a good Smyrna team, and then you will be smelling the varnish and popcorn inside for basketball.
No doubt about it, and that's another part of the reason why this game was so big is there's a big drop-off in our 1 through 4. I don't think there's a big drop-off. There's a big drop-off in their 1 through 4. The difference between 2 and 3 in whatever they are, 5, they're 5, 6A, right? Big difference. So, but yeah, I mean, and here's the thing, the most impressive thing or surprising thing, I guess, you were there. It was 37-0, Coach, but it was in the second quarter, right? Because there wasn't a running clock because it doesn't start until the third quarter. That's why I couldn't figure out how there was time for them to come back with the 21 points, I would think. So I think it was 37-0 in the second quarter. Am I correct on that?
That is correct. It was.
Nobody would have guessed that.
No.
Now. Nobody.
Well,
that's like winning the Powerball.
Independence scored 21 in the second half, but it was late when this was scored. So by this time, when we went in halftime, I believe, let me back up for just a second, I believe it was 27-0 at halftime.
27-0. Yes. So, yeah, unbelievable performance by Ravenwood. You knew that. You knew they had they've shown flashes of being the best team, and I think if they play like they did Friday night in these playoffs, it's going to be hard to beat any of them. But I think Coach felt like you knew there was speed on the outside on both of these guys. When you look at what Indy has with Sheffield and Collier and Bishop now, and then you look on the other side with Ravenwood, with Mason and Craig and Holmes. But I really felt like, and you really felt like, Coach Daniels felt like they'd be able to run the ball. I'm assuming that's what they did. William Bain is back and healthy now. Workhorse dude, Matty D. But Bain came out, and he had 90 yards rushing on 15 attempts, 1 touchdown. Tony Rice had 67 yards on 8 rushes, 1 touchdown. Brian Garcia had 8 rushes, 28 yards, 2 touchdowns, 38 attempts, 204 rushing yards. I'm willing to bet most of those were between the tackles. I know Garcia's was. That was the recipe to win, and then they put everything else around it.
Hey, man. He just had his daughter last week.
Yep.
Been in and out of, school with Mama, making sure everybody's good. We're just glad, man.
It's all love, baby.
Look, man, it ain't no big deal, man. Look, people don't give us respect. We go to South Warren. They're the 5th-ranked team. They're undefeated. We get our feelings hurt a little bit, and we come back out, and people disrespect us because we're playing Independence, man. Garcia, 2,000 yards on the season. We've got a 1,000-yard rusher. Come on, man. It's Ravenwood.
What we got to do?
What do we got to do to earn respect? I can tell you what you do. You come out 27-0 on TV at Independence, and you let everybody know in 6A, the Raptors are back. We'll see you in Cookeville. Yeah. That's what they're thinking right now.
And the running game was the big thing, but then also off the play action, right? You saw that. Running game, boom, boom, boom. Play action, 69-yard touchdown pass to Mason.
You didn't see the game,
Beautiful ball. I saw the highlights.
Listen, Garcia could quite possibly be one of the most underrated players in WCS. We don't give him enough credit. This dude is as slick as possible. He's about the size of my assistant AD, Major, but that dude could slide in between the tackles when the rushers come. He knows when to fill up that pocket, step up, make a huge pass, and then if he doesn't, I love it. It's 8 to 10 to 12 every time with a nice Doug Flutie quarterback slide. Gets up, everybody's laughing. I watched. I stood on one sideline. They were like, ha, 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 he slid. I was like, he just got 15. He got up, and then he threw about a 40-yard bomb. And I said, ain't nobody laughing now.
Right.
This dude is a player. Garcia's a player. Holmes is a player. Mason's a player. The running back.
Bain.
But then all the people.
And Tony Rice.
All the people that we don't talk about, I'm fixing to talk about you for just a moment. The offensive and defensive lines of Ravenwood is what separates them from all the other WCS schools. Those guys are dudes.
They were on Friday night.
Big, athletic. It looks like if they play like they did Friday night, the sky's the limit. They can get to Cookeville. I fully believe that. But we've got a lot of water that has to crawl on, pass under the bridge before now and then. But Ravenwood, big winners, 37-21 over Independence. They secure the number 2 seed in Region 6A. They do get a home playoff game, but they will have to play at Brentwood if that follows true. We'll get to that in just a moment. On the 5A side, Page 31, Columbia 10. It could have been easily a trap game. You hate to use that word, that old cliche, but we've wrapped up the Region 5 5A championship. We've got the number 1 seed going in. Columbia's not very good. We could go into this game. It could easily fall into the trap. What do they do? 31-10.
Yeah, you're right. And Columbia, the crazy thing is they're not very good. Their record's not very good, but they've got athletes. And so that was the scary thing to me. But they took care of business. I think that shows the maturity of this team. And again, for them to be 9-1 is just – because that's they've played a tough schedule. And for them to be 9-1, is just unbelievable, and they took care of business. And it was important because there's some teams that I would want to stay away from in that region, which they'd already won the region. But, this is the opening round that they wanted, I would think. And they did it the way they've done it all year long. Cade Walker came out, had big plays, nice and steady, 238 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 61-yard to Miles Bond. Talk about a guy who doesn't get enough credit. Miles Bond's a player. And
Michael Burke usually gets all the spotlight with the
That's right.
Michaels.
That's right. Well,
now that everybody's shading towards him a little bit.
That's right. And so Walker throws 2 touchdowns, a 61-yarder to Miles Bond, an 80-yarder to Michael Burdick. Burdick, 8 catches, 133 yards, touchdown. I mean, and then another young man who all you got to do is just watch Quincy Brock Compton, 69 rushing yards and a touchdown. They took care of business, man, and 9-1. I mean, that's all you need to know.
When people look at me and say, Michael Burdick's just okay, I look at him like this.
That's a scary. That's a
Michael
an
Burdick
intense look.
Is a player. Any of the schools, Big Six-wise, would take Cade Walker as a quarterback.
Yeah.
They've got the recipe. Who would have thought, man? 9-1. What a season for Coach Rathbone. Congratulations. Hats off. First region championship in 19 years. I mean, the list keeps growing and growing for Coach Rathbone and what's happened for the Patriots this year. However, listen to me very closely, Patriot family, Patriot country, Patriot nation. The games are not over.
No.
This thing could have potential to go as deep as you possibly want it to go. Keep it up. Don't be just happy that you're here in region champs, because it does not stop here. And I'd hate to see a season like what the Patriots have had potentially just stop, because they have an opportunity to go pretty deep. We look at that Hillwood. Let's just go on and talk 5A for just a moment on this bracket. Come on.
It's a little scary.
Oh, man, it makes you nervous. So let's hold that thought. Yeah. Let's get back to it when we get in depth. All right. Once again, Page, big winners over Clement 31-10. Summit 21, Lincoln County 13. Spartans, I hate to use the word limping coming in, but not looking their finest. They got back on the horse in this game but they beat Centennial the week before, but came in and played Lincoln County. A lot of people have written off Old Sparty. I don't know that they're done yet. I think they got a heartbeat. I think they're back. Coach Coleman's team with a very good win over Lincoln County. What do we know about this game?
What they have to do to win. Odumegwu was right around, 90 yards, had a touchdown. The Wades played well.
Another 1,000-yard rusher, by the way.
Odumegwu, that's right. Very good. Cracked 1,000. So that's how many years in a row has Summit had a 1,000-yard rusher. But running back,
it's either
we'll
4
start calling
or
running
5,
back.
right?
Yeah. And Destin, the freshman quarterback, he played well. He's going to have to play well with his feet. He's going to have to be able to beat you with his feet, and then he's going to have to be average to better at the passing game. We know we're not going to see 20 passing attempts with them, and if we do, that means we're getting beat really bad and we're playing catch-up, right? So that's what they did. It was Thursday night. They moved it for the rain or a fall break for Lincoln County or somebody. I don't know. It ended up being bad both nights, but they were up 21-0, so held on. You know what I think of Coach Johnson and Lincoln County. They're always going to be well prepared and they're going to play hard, and so they were up 21-0. Were able to hold on. Again, I think Lincoln County, they're a respectable 5A team. They're not just because the record's not that good. They've had some good wins and they've played some people tough. So they got up early. I don't know what happened, why the scoring stalled, but it did. I'm sure weather had part of it to do in trying to make sure we don't beat ourselves with turnovers, and they were able to get the good win. And now we got a really physical one on Friday night with Beach. But you're right. This is what I would say. We just talked about how good Centennial is. Well, you know what I'm saying. They beat them. So here they are. They're coming into the playoffs with 2 really good wins.
I think top to bottom, if you look at the 5A bracket, these 2 regions combined, this is the toughest matchup, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A for WCS that we have from top to bottom. You got Beach in that group. You're looking at Hillwood as the 4 seed, but Gallatin, Hillsboro. That's for whatever reason, that's a tough little group to come out of. If you can come out of that, there's a good chance you could be in Cookeville.
Without a doubt. It's like our 6A. If you can just survive, if you can just get west.
Survive and advance. That's right. Get west. Nolensville on the 4A level. Nolensville beat a very good Marshall County team, 21-17, led the entire game. kind of held off the big comeback from Marshall County to win 21-17. What does that do for Coach Derrick and his crew?
Well, you want to talk about a tough region. One, you cannot be anything but ecstatic. That's a huge win. Marshall County is a really good program. I didn't really realize it until I started looking at the brackets. Heck, you want to talk about a tough region. Nolensville finished third. That was for third. Now they got to go on the road. Maplewood, Tullahoma, Nolensville, and Marshall County. So what I would say to that is, even though they got to go on the road, coming out of that region, you got to know whoever you see in this first round of the playoffs ain't going to be anything like what you've seen during the regular season. And Marshall County is a really good athletic football program, and they were able to get the win, and that's a really nice win. So to finish up third in this region is unbelievable for them, and like I said, I think they'll be advancing. I don't care if they're going on the road or not. Macon County is nothing like what they just beat, and they're nothing like what they've played.
I think it's big for another reason. Livingston Academy. What is significant about Livingston Academy?
Hall-Guy?
Last year for Nolensville.
I don't know.
Nolensville had to go to Livingston Academy as the 4th seed. Livingston Academy was the 1 seed. They upset. The record books were written. First team to ever advance, get a TWSAA playoff win without seniors. That, my friend, is impossible to duplicate 2 years in a row. There is no way. If you lose this game, they get the 4th seed. You lose this game, you go on the road to Livingston Academy again, and there is no way you could go over there and try to sell that to your kids, which they would be up for the task. But Livingston Academy is not going to overlook it. So
I think they would have gone to Stone, though. Isn't Stone the number 1? Or is it Livingston? Is Livingston?
I believe Livingston Academy. I may have my information wrong. I'll double-check that, but go ahead.
Either way, it's a long trip on the road.
It is, and it's hard to sell that again because everybody knows you did that last year, that upset. You went in there as the number 4 seed, and you beat the number 1. You are correct. Stone Memorial at 9-1 is the number 1 seed. I apologize. Livingston Academy is the number 3 seed. But they went to Livingston Academy last year as the number 1 seed was the point I was trying to make. Yeah. Thank you for the correction, Mr. Producer. But I just think it's really, really hard to duplicate. You look at that, 283 yards total against Marshall County. Not their best offensive output of the year, but they get the win. Colton Dooley, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. That brings him to 908 on the year. He's now 92 away from getting.
I hope he gets there. But why was it their not their best offensive output of the year? I think it's because Marshall County is really good.
Probably so.
So to get 283 yards or whatever you said against them, we're talking about guys that can run and they're physical and they've won a lot of ball games since Osteen's been there.
Well,
it was a great win.
Zach Campbell produced 110 yards of that. You look at his production. So he gets half the offensive production on the night by himself. So maybe it was the fact that they were watching Dooley and trying to take away the running game, where Zach Campbell caught 7 balls, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns from Ghilardi. And Ghilardi's done a great job of stepping in. Only 1 turnover for the Knights. That is the recipe for success for them. Anytime they've had 2 or more is disaster.
Yes.
That is the Achilles heel. So just come on, Knights. Secure the ball, make good decisions.
And the Rebels' recipe for success mirror each other. And you're right. Ghilardi has done a great job and just getting better and better and playing very well at the quarterback position.
Finally, on the 3A level, Chris Hughes just keeps on rolling. You know what? This is what you have to do. You have to go back to October 23rd of 2015 to see the last time a team beat the Yellow Jackets within the region. And that was Camden, 33-28, in an upset squeaker at the very end. They have gone 16 consecutive region wins, and they've all pretty much been boat races.
Without a doubt, and that's a heck of an accomplishment. And region champs again this year, 8-2. Who are the 2 losses to? Do we even need to bring that up again? Page, region
5A champs.
And Ravenwood,
Region 6A runner-ups.
And could have been
T1, T2.
Ooh,
right?
Boy.
That's what you can just pretty much call them in Brentwood.
That's right. That's right.
So, it is really remarkable. I love those games. He thinks I'm crazy. He's trying to get out of some of those. I'm calling him out right here. But I'm telling you, keep those games on your schedule because you're going to see some of these teams. You won't see a team until you get to Cookeville on the 3A side. So let's go on and pencil Alcoa in. that top division. They're going to go.
I'd probably pin them in.
Yeah, right. They're going to go. They're going to go all the way to the championship game. You will not see a team with 6A talent all the way through like a Ravenwood, 5A talent like a Page. I don't think all the way through the playoffs. I'm sure there'll be some teams that may have a player or two that can play anywhere.
Yeah.
But the depth size of Ravenwood will be hard to be matched.
Oh, without a doubt, and just the sheer numbers, and so. But great, and it's the way they've done it all year long. 39-7. I was a little bit surprised that wasn't a running clock. I'm sure it was, and then they scored to 7. But that thing could have been worse than it was. And the three-headed monster of Brock Harris, Cam Harris-Lusk, and Nardozzi, they did their deal, all over 100, all had their touchdowns, and Nardozzi, 9 rushes for 144 yards and a touchdown. Remember, we're losing track of this. Now, the kid's a sophomore. He's going to have a heck of a career there. Cam Harris-Lusk, 5 rushes, 90 yards, 6 receptions, 130 yards, a receiving touchdown.
You know what his total yardage is for the year? 1,500 yards. And I hope, I'm sure the political aspects of this has already begun across the state for Mr. Football. But to think that Cam Harris-Lusk would not be in the conversation,
I think he's in it.
For 3A Mr. Football would be insane.
I think he's in it. Well over 20 total touchdowns.
I mean, good grief.
And how many of those games did he not play?
Second half. Fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But you know how these things work.
Here's the most impressive
thing. It's a beauty contest. But you go back and you look at the overall body work. That's the point I want to make. We'll have a lot of guys that will be in there around the 500 mark, get beat in the first round of the playoffs, whatever the case. I'm sure Alcoa will have a person that's very deserving.
Yep.
Cam Harris-Lusk, look at the overall body work in his career, 1,500 yards this year. They haven't lost a region game in 16 games.
Well, and remember, we talked to Coach Hughes about this Saturday. The kid played quarterback last year. He wasn't even a wide receiver this time last year.
Great point.
Played quarterback. Brock Harris moves in. They move him, and here he is. He's well over 20 touchdowns. But the most impressive thing the other night, and Cheatham County's, they're a fine football team. 52 yards on 38 plays. That's all the defense gave up.
Well, I'm sure that
Snappies was rolling.
I'm sure at some point in time that we're going to have a discussion about this. I've already gotten on my stump. My blood pressure's up. I feel the heat coming through here. I'm just telling you, I feel like he better be on the list.
I think he will. I don't think that'll be a problem. Now, Rondarius Gregory from East Nashville, he's going to be up there.
I'm not saying he needs to win it. He needs to be in the conversation.
I know this. I don't know that if he doesn't, I don't know that anybody is head and shoulders above.
Well, let's stay on the 3A level right now. Let's look at the matchups. We're going to start going through the brackets right now. We are officially in OT, baby, here at Sports Connection. Class 3A state football playoffs. Fairview 8-2, opening round with Wrights Creek 2-8. Do you want to spend a lot of time on this, or do you want to talk about a little bit about Whites Creek, the Cobras?
Well, no disrespect to them. They are trying to do things the right way out there. They're just in a really tough situation, and I hate it for them. I don't think they get a lot of the support that they should get. I take that. I know they don't get the support that they should get. So it's really hard to do there. But, I mean, let's just be honest. They've won 2 games. One of those was a forfeit to Giles County that they actually lost 43-14. 6 games they've been shut out of. 1, 2, 3,
have not
4,
scored a point since
5.
October 5th.
Haven't scored a point since October 5th. 5 of the games they've been beat by 45 points or more.
Last 2 games have been outscored 93-0.
Now, they saw Pearl Cone and Stratford. Pearl Cone was 63 of them. But so let's just call it what it is. Show up. Let's have a good week of practice. More than likely, we are working on East Nashville all week. This is code word East Nashville week. And go out there, take care of our business like we should, and get our guys out, get our pups in to build some depth and some experience and some time. Get them out. Let's not get anybody hurt. Take care of business. That's what this week is about.
So let's look at this. I overlooked you talking about the difficulty of schedules. Let's look at the 3A schedule for just a moment that we pair up with the region that we pair up. Pearl Cone's going to be coming in on that side as the number 1 seed. They're 8-2. Who are their 2 losses to? Do you know off the top of your head?
I do. CPA and NBA. They're legit.
So there you go. They are also – they have been in the state championship game, or did they win it a year ago or 2
ago?
No,
they were runner-up.
Runner-up last year.
No, 2 years ago.
To Alcoa.
No, they ran into Memphis East, which that's what I was talking about. That's what's so crazy about how quick they fell off the map.
Right.
But they were in 4A then. That's why.
So Pearl Cone coming in at 8-2. They're going to square up against Cheatham County 4-6. I'm going to go ahead and pin in
bloodbath.
Pearl Cone. And then on that 2-3 game, Camden 6-4 will be hosting Stratford. I think Camden wins that game. Stratford has struggled all year long, 2-8. However, hold the boat. Let's pump the brakes on that for a moment of me looking at here and saying Camden. Stratford, I'm going to recant what I just said. Stratford's going to beat Camden at Camden because I think that Camden has not seen outside of Fairview any kind of speed, any kind of size and athleticism that they're going to see against Stratford.
I guarantee you they haven't seen the size. Stratford they're big, they're physical, they can run. They had a coaching change in the middle of the year that's kind of jacked them up. You're right. Don't be surprised if Stratford doesn't pick off Camden.
So you got Pearl Cone, Stratford, second round in the bracket directly above this one. Fairview, Whites Creek, I mean, the only thing that's going to be close in this game will be the coin toss. And then I don't mean any disrespect to White. I really don't. I don't know those folks, and I'm glad you said that because I do tend to be hard on those non-WCS teams. But if you're doing things right, I've been in that coaching world.
Yeah.
You didn't get support. I've specifically been in that role more than once and not getting support. And you're trying to do things right, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you're on an island by yourself.
That's right.
So I wish them the best of luck getting in the future.
Can't help them.
Yeah, after this game. So once Fairview beats, and I really think it's not even close. Would you probably agree with that?
Yeah, no. Cam and Nardozzi and them were eating popcorn in the third quarter with Dr. Jones.
So what do you get in return on the second round? You get East Nashville, who's coming in at 9-1.
Now it got real.
I'm assuming the only loss they have is to East Nashville.
Pearl.
Excuse me.
No, you're right. Yeah, right. It is.
East Nashville's only loss is to Pearl Cone, who was the region champs. So let's look forward in your crystal ball for just a moment. East Nashville, Fairview, Pearl Cone, Stratford. Do you think Pearl Cone automatically walks through that Stratford team? Do you not?
Yes.
Okay. Fairview, East Nashville.
I think it's going to be a good game. Here's what you need to know. This will to put it in perspective for you. They're 9-1. East Nashville. Now let's talk. We talked about Fairview. Recap real quick. They're 8-2. Their 2 losses are to Page and Ravenwood. No shame in either one of those.
Right.
Here East Nashville is they're 9-1. They've beat Riverdale, not the greatest team in the world, but they're a 6A playoff team. Mm-hmm. They beat Maplewood. Now we know what they're about. 24-20. Whites Creek 46-0. They beat Clarksville Northeast, who don't let their record fool you. They got caught up in the forfeit game, former Gov, Watson. So those are some really, really quality wins right there. Their one loss is 35-6 to Pearl Cone. I think they'd like to see it back. Here's what's going to be fun. You were talking about Mr. Football. He's got to be one. Rondarius Gregory. They've got a Mr. Football. He is a lot like Cam Harris-Lusk. Anytime he gets the ball, he's a threat to take it. So they're going to have to watch him. That game, Coach Hughes on my show this Saturday, we talked about it. And I think without a doubt, assuming that East Nashville takes care of Sycamore and assuming that Fairview takes care of Whites Creek, out of all the classifications, I think that's the #1 round 2 game.
There's no doubt. This entire capsule, if you look at it, is really difficult. And I'm going to go on and say even further. The winner of this capsule, the winner that gets into that quarterfinal or that semifinal game is going to Cookeville.
You would think so. The thing you hope that doesn't happen is they don't beat each other up. East Nashville and Fairview, that's going to be a slobber knocker. The winner of that one in Pearl Cone, that's going to be a slobber knocker. Who do we get to after that? Do you know?
Well, you've got, coming from the west, you got Covington, Melrose, Raleigh, McNary Central, Tresvant, Milan, South Gibson, Wooddale. Let's not fool ourselves. That is not the Milan team of old. I mean, for goodness sake, McNary Central's 8-2. That just goes to tell you what West Tennessee football's like. They smell the varnish and the popcorn right now. 4A football, looking at Nolensville, 6-4, playing at Macon County, 5-5. Macon County is the 2 seed coming from over there. This is my prediction. My prediction is that Nolensville is a 13-point favorite. I believe they cover, and they cover easily because that region has not seen, once again, I feel like a broken record, has not seen the schedule difficulty or difficult of scheduling that what Nolensville has done.
You're 100% right. We mentioned it. Maplewood, Tullahoma, Nolensville, Marshall County. Stone is the only team on the opposite bracket that has a chance of winning a game. And I said chance.
And I don't know that they win that game.
I don't know that they beat them, but
who's Marshall County played? Brentwood,
yeah.
Nolensville, Giles. They're non-conference games.
Maplewood, Tullahoma.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I don't know that region doesn't go undefeated.
I think they do. Stone's pretty good, and I don't know where Marshall County's mindset is right now, but Macon County, you know it, Coach. They've been doing it for 100 years. They're going to run to wing T. They got a quarterback who's pretty good, but they're going to run to wing T. They got a running back that's pretty good. They don't have anybody that's going to break one. That's what they would need to beat Nolensville. They need somebody who's going to break along when they don't have that threat. I think Nolensville goes in and really handles them pretty easily.
Well, you look at this particular capsule that they're in on the north side of the bracket, if you will. It's a little set up a little different than what we're used to on this 4A side, just because of the fact that Nolensville and everybody is going east in this, which is a little strange. But Nolensville, Macon, winner gets the Maplewood DeKalb County winner, which Maplewood, I'm assuming, will boat race them at 9-1. That sets up Nolensville, Maplewood round 2.
And I was there, and it started off really ugly on a Thursday night. And they came back and beat them, had a chance to beat them. I think Nolensville would love a chance, and there would be nothing better than if the weather is bad.
I'm going to give you something better. They beat Maplewood, and then the following round, they put out Tullahoma too, to the house. That would be nice. 5A side, let's look at that real quick. Page 9-1 at Hillwood 3-7. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, it's a little bit scary. You see Hillwood, and you think, oh, man, this is kind of like Fairview and their first rounder. It's not. It could be, but they've got a quarterback, Hale Page, Kurt Page's boy. He plays quarterback. He's a young man who can beat you with his feet. He can extend plays really hard to get a sack, and he runs around back there and waits for a coverage breakdown and makes plays. And they had a chance to beat Beach. When I saw that they almost beat Beach last week, I thought, that can't be right. They must have scored them late. No, they had a chance to beat them. Anyways, if Page comes out and does what they should do and takes care of business, they'll beat them. But this isn't what you're normally thinking of a Hillwood. They're a little bit scary.
I think those 4 teams, you can put them in a bag, shake it up, pull out one, and they're all going to be about alike. Yep. You've got Hillwood, Beach, Gallatin, and Hillsboro in that book. I think obviously Hillsboro's coming in as the number 1 seed. They're probably a little bit better. So let's look at this capsule just quick with our region. Page, Hillwood, I think Page goes on. I think the pundits agree because the pundits have them as a 27-point favorite. I'm not so sure they cover, but I think they get the win on that. Then it goes and sets up the Beach Summit game. Summit is the 3 seed, has to go to Beach, 7-3. What do you think?
I think that's a pick 'em, man. I don't know where the pundits put that, but they're very similar. You're going to have to stop the off tackle play, weak side against Beach. And they're going to whoever wins the line of scrimmage in this game more than any other game is going to win that one. They're both navy and orange. They both have white helmets.
Summit's going to try to avenge that loss from last year. Beach was the team that put them out. And,
but it was a game.
It was a great game. I think you're right. I think it is a pick 'em, very, very close. Be interesting to see a Page Summit to get into that quarterfinal, which would be awesome. Gallatin, Shelbyville. Does Shelbyville beat Gallatin?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think Shelbyville's got something nice going.
And I don't think Lincoln County has a shot against Hillsboro. I think Hillsboro wins. I think it's a Hillsboro-Shelbyville. I think it's tough. That's a tough game to pick to going into the quarters as well. My question is Page in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, I think they are. I do. I think they're, barring any crazy injury, I think they are. But and I think it's against Hillsboro, which, God, that'll be fun to watch. Real quick, just to put this in perspective for you, here's how many points, and a lot of these are losses, but Hillwood, they scored 41, 20, 47, 34, 24, 38, 47, 20, 14, and 28. They're 3-7, but they scored points in all of them.
Good look at the 6A side. When you look at the 6A side, you draw a line right down the middle. You've got Rutherford County on that north side of the bracket, Maryville. So you're looking at an Oakland/Blackman, Maryville showdown. Everybody's already pinned that in. It's done. Maryville's going to walk through this thing. You've got Farragut up there, who was, 5A a couple years ago. Now they're 6A. They're 9-1. But
they don't play the schedule these guys play.
I don't see that happening either. So you're gonna walk through this thing, and then you got the southern portion of the bracket, which is ours, and we go west. So you've got the Whitehaven. You've got Germantown 10-0. Whitehaven is always the team that we have to go through usually. Don't know that it's any different this year. We'll see. Germantown may be a little better than what I'm giving them credit for. But let's look at our capsule. Cane Ridge is the #1 seed on the other side. They're 10-0. Franklin has them off the bat 6-4. This is what I was telling you a while ago. The pundits have this game as a 8-point favorite towards Cane Ridge. I think this thing is going to be tight. I think Franklin's going to have an opportunity to win it, and everybody's going to be like, what just happened?
I think you're right. I think here's what it boils down to. Does Franklin, and when I say Franklin, I mean their team, their players, do they believe they can beat them?
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Do they truly believe it? Because if they do, I think they can. I think what they do is what you have to do. They do have the most explosive running back tandem anywhere in the state with Jacquez Norman and Devon Starling. They got an experienced quarterback in Corey Andrews who can beat you with his feet. But you talked about it earlier. The best defense is to keep that offense off the field. Who is the most time possession team of any of these four that we've got left? Franklin. Run the ball. Gacka needs to have 25 carries, no turnovers. Keep those guys off the field and then get points when they can. When you got a shot with Bright's a guy who can beat their athletic DBs. And Nichols is a guy, he's going to have to make good decisions at the quarterback position. I think they can beat him. And, man, what a win it would be. But that's how they're going to have to do it. It's not impossible, and they're going to have to gang tackle those guys. You let Norman and Starling out in space, you got trouble. But they've played teams like them. Yeah, I think this could be an upset special. But they got to believe it. If they don't believe it, it don't matter.
Put them on your radar. Gacka is built for long, sustained drives. That's what he's done all year long, right. 25 to 30 carries a game. Nothing for this guy. If he can hang on to the ball, keep getting that 3 to 5 yards every time he gets in there, and then hopefully, like he said, when they least expect it, drop a dime.
Keep them honest with Bright. We got to take a couple of downfield shots at him early on. And then throughout, keep them honest. Don't let them crowd that line of scrimmage on Gacka.
Reed Kemp, remember that name. He's going to have 4 to 6 catches, and they're going to be in that 30 to 75-yard range total for the year for that night. That's going to make all the difference in this thing. Maybe first downs, whatever they need to keep those drives going.
Extend
Reed
drives.
Kemp. You'll also hear that name as a point guard for the Rebels come just a little bit later.
Strong, Dr. Qualls.
Ravenwood, 8-2 as the #2 seed. Hosting Overton 4-6. Boat Race City.
Quarterback's athletic. He can make some things happen, extending his plays. Problem is, a lot of times he makes mistakes when he does that. Ravenwood's defense, I think you're right. That front seven doesn't get the credit that they deserve. They're athletic. This thing's, if they want it to be, this could be Coach Daniels is over there with his Mastercraft hat on, got that thing hammered down. Listen to JT on the
holding his new daughter Mackenzie on the sidelines.
That's right. That's
because this thing could be really, really over if they, like you said, if they came out and played like they did the other night. They have zero problem of moving on. I'm going to go ahead and pencil those guys in. That could be a potential Ravenwood-Cane Ridge, Ravenwood-Franklin matchup that would be very, very interesting because I'm going to tell you something right now. Coach, Dr. Defense, Donnie Webb, really wants another shot at that Ravenwood team because he feels like they dropped the ball on that first game and should have beaten the Raptors.
I would think Ravenwood wants another chance at Cane Ridge because of last year, but you're right, Franklin Dangsher wants a shot at Ravenwood.
I'm not so sure any of our guys want to see each other in the second round. They'd rather have somebody else just because I think we all believe that our schedules lend itself to just being better.
Right.
So I think that I agree with you. Independence 5-5, having to go to the #2 Smyrna 7-3. Is Independence Jekyll and Hyde? If they are Jekyll instead of Hyde, are they the best 5-5 team in the Mid-State?
It depends on what night, but yeah, when they want to be, the team that showed up and played Brentwood, yes, they're the best 5-5 team in the state. The one that played Ravenwood, no, I wouldn't think so. But they're, in the CPA, they were in that game. That's a 10-0. So yeah, I mean, we know they've got firepower. that was another big game for a lot of reasons, but the difference in Smyrna and McGavick is a big difference in that 2-3 over there. Smyrna's a good football team. They've got 3 losses now. Who are they to? Blackman. Well, we know what they're about. Cane Ridge, 13-3. We know what they're about, and then CPA. So they're a good football team. They've got a quarterback a lot kind of like Joshua Nichols and Alex Bannister. He can beat you with his arm and his feet. He's not going to throw it 30, 35 times a game, but he's consistent, and he's got receivers that he can make big plays to, and he's going to make good decisions. Leader. Blake Watkins, their running back, Mr. Do Everything. He's as good of a running back as we'll see. And so they're going to have to account for him at all time. He's a guy that he's deep on kickoffs and can take one back. He took a kickoff back against CPA. He's a playmaker. So Independence is not going to win this game 10-7. No, they're going to have to outscore them. The good thing is you look at Smyrna's points. If you got a good offense, you can score points on them. Does that answer it?
The first time or every time that I've gone out and pulled a tombstone out for Independence, it has not worked out.
They got tombstones?
So I'm going to leave the tombstone alone. I think they win. I really do. I feel like off on, they're going to be on this game. Ethan Cash is going to pour it on. I feel confident in that. McGavick 3-7, Brentwood 8-2, 1 versus 4. I'm going to go ahead and confidently pull up the first tombstone of today. I think this is an automatic. I think they go on and take care of business against a McGavick team. So you look at this. Let's look at this capsule. How many games does WCS win in this opening round? Do they win 4? Do they win 3 on the 6A level?
I think they win 3.
I'm not going to ask you which one it is, but you think they go 3-1.
Yes.
We've got 8 games total. You look over the whole scope of things. Can the WCS Sports Conference go 6-2, 7-1, 8-0? That's your 3 options.
I think definitely 6-2.
Definitely 6-2. You think somebody, obviously when you play these games, sometimes the night just didn't go your way. Things happen.
What do you think?
I think 7-1.
Strong.
That is very strong. I think I think that the 5A level lends itself. There is a very strong pocket of concern for me on that 5A level, just because of the fact those other teams, don't know a lot about them, but I think the Beach Summit matchup is intriguing for me on that.
I think it's a coin flip.
And then you've got, the pundits have it at 8 points for Beach. So Beach is laying 8. But then, like you said, I really do think Franklin can beat Cane Ridge.
I do too.
I don't need one of the other teams not to show up. That's what scares me a little bit. So there's 2 games that are questionable for me. I think we get one of those 50-50 games, and we may lose one of those 50-50 games. Who knows what it is? 7-1. I'm going to call it right now, 7-1. I would love to see 8-0 though.
That's strong. I'm going to go 6-2, but I hope you're right.
Well, if you look at our picks for the season, I'm 39-14. You're 45-8, so there's a good chance that you're right.
Are there any popcorn cities in there?
Absolutely.
You're saying 2?
Popcorn cities in round 1?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we know there's 1.
Oh, my goodness.
We know there's 1.
Fairview.
What's the bucket? You know when you get the big bucket that they refill all year long?
Yes.
That's what the Fairview
That's the annual AMC Stubbs bucket's what they've got.
That's right.
Because that will be an absolute boat race.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that Page may not get to Popcorn City, but I think it's close. I think Ravenwood, Popcorn City's Overton.
I do too.
Anybody else that I missed?
Nolo might. As long as it's not, been raining for 4 days, which who knows. But good weather conditions, I think Nolo, Popcorn Cities. I don't think they like being called Nolo. The Knights, Nolansville, I think they
get on the night train.
The night train. I like that. I think they Popcorn City, Macon County.
Halloween, we officially made it through Halloween. I want to give a shout out. Man, this is, this season we go by so fast. We don't ever say anything about these folks that make this happen. Heather, Creed, Lance,
no doubt.
Here at WCTV, thank you for putting up with our shenanigans. And if you're still watching this show and your ears are not bleeding all the way out in Gallatin, we appreciate it, because I know that sometimes we're not the most interesting characters, but our information's pretty good. I appreciate you coming in every time and doing this show. Our assistant AD over there today, Major, keeps me sane as well. But
does he get to pick? We're gonna let him pick.
Well, we've gone deep into OT, and it's time to sign off.
All right.
So if you've been joining us, thank you for watching all the way up to here. Tournaments coming up, playoffs coming up.
Go to one of these games.
Go to one of these games. I don't care if it is a moneymaker for affiliation, the corporation, big brother themselves to TWSAA. But the first rounds, it's still these guys need the support of the team. So please go to these games. We've got 8 to choose from. We put the maximum amount in every year in the 5 years I've been here.
That's strong.
I love it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for round 2 of the TWSAA football playoffs.